The Magic's offense is looking better these days, and a big reason, it's not their three-point shooting getting better. It's all on the margins today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is November 11th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic's offense getting a little bit better, but why the difference for this team is not the three-point shooting, it's on the margins. I'll explain how the Magic make up ground today on Locked On Magic. But before we do any of that, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And you can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day thanks to the Locked On Magic daily newsletter. It's the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. There is no doubt right now that the Orlando Magic are struggling a little bit on offense. Yes, coming off a 118-point game on Friday against Pelicans, 121 points against the Washington Wizards. So it's all relative. Magic had two good offensive games the last two nights, but no one's going to sit here and pretend like the Magic's offense is solved, that the Magic's offense is fixed. The Magic shot a normal percentage from three for a change, 35.4%. They made 17 threes on Sunday, so maybe things are turning the corner. But let's be real. As much as the Magic are adding the three-point shot more to their game, as much as that continues to be an addition to this team and a vital evolution for this team, nobody's sitting here pretending the Magic are a good three-point shooting team. Nobody is sitting here pretending the Magic are a good or efficient offensive team. And especially without Paolo Banchero. And so we have to sit here and we have to think. We have to sit here and we have to think about how this team is going to function. About how this team is going to generate the push and generate the offense that they will need to be successful. The season doesn't stop, obviously, just because they have this injury, as the Magic have learned very hard this last week. And Orlando is still figuring out what the formula is for their success. What will it take for the team to win? Clearly, the Magic can't count on three-point shooting. Clearly, the Magic aren't going to always be able to rely on their shooting. Jamal Mosley will say, of course, it's about the defense. If the Magic defend well, that doesn't matter if you shoot well or not. You give yourself a chance to win. And again, Magic have largely defended well during this stretch. But what's happened over the last three games especially is the Magic have found points, have found scoring, have found offense in weird places. If teams are going to outshoot the Orlando Magic, and they didn't in this game, so I want to make that clear. We'll get to some of that in a minute. If the Magic are going to give up a deficit on three-point shots, then they got to find ways to make up for it. The last two games, it was scoring in the paint, 70-plus points per game in the paint in each of the last two games. For this team, it is still getting to the foul line, which is a little bit more inconsistent now that Paolo's out. It's about finding these points on the margins. It's about finding these ways to keep constant pressure, to keep constant scoring, so that when teams do go on those three-point binges that the Magic really can't match, they're still able to keep up. They're still able to make something happen. And lately, again, last three games, small sample size, I know, as we figure this thing out. The last three games, the Magic have found points on the margins, both in points in the paint, points off turnovers, and especially second chance points, offensive rebounds. In Sunday's win over the Washington Wizards, again, 121-94. You can see the score on the rundown if you're watching on YouTube. In the game on Sunday, the Orlando Magic scored 22 second chance points off 15 offensive rebounds. In the third quarter alone, when the game was really blown open, the Magic scored 10 second chance points off 5 offensive rebounds. The Magic found extra possessions. When they missed a shot, they got the rebound. When they missed a shot, they got the rebound and got another chance to score. And for a team that is struggling to score, that is struggling to do like basic functional things sometimes, struggling to make an open shot, this is a big win. This is a big deal. This is a big difference. Before Washington cratered out in that third quarter, they were shooting 50%. They were shooting better than 50%. They were hanging the game because they had a 3-point advantage, but they didn't have the lead because the Magic dominated the offensive glass. And that's been the case for the last 3 games. The Magic have found a new way to generate points. Here are the numbers. For the whole season, the Magic are ranked 16th in the league in offensive rebound rate at 28.8%. It's roughly 3 offensive rebounds for every 10 defensive rebounds, or for every 10 rebounding opportunities. And they're 14th in the league with 14.5 second chance points per game. But in their last 3 games, they're grabbing 33.8% of their offensive rebounding opportunities. So that's 1 of every 3 of their own misses they're getting, and scoring 17.7 second chance points per game. Again, a small difference, but one that has major ramifications. In this game alone, where the Wizards had 7 offensive rebounds and 9 second chance points, in this game alone, the Magic took 19 more shots than the Wizards. Again, some of that is offensive rebounds. Some of that is turnovers. The Orlando Magic used turnovers in the third quarter as well to extend and build their lead. Washington had 17 turnovers for 26 points. Again, third quarter, 8 turnovers for 14 points. Forcing turnovers, getting down defensively, creating extra possessions. That's a big factor. That was a big factor for the Magic last year. It is a big factor once again for this year's team, especially when the Magic do a good job limiting their own turnovers. And the numbers show this too as well. Just like with the offensive rebounding, Orlando is 11th in the league, forcing a 15.4% turnover rate, and 17th with 16.9 points off turnovers per game. But again, in the last 3 games, the Magic are forcing a 15.3% turnover rate, so about the same, but scoring 20 points off turnovers per game. That's only 3 more points per game. But put that into a deeper perspective, that's more opportunities. That's more opportunities to score. That is points on the margin. That is an extra possession where you're getting points that the other team can't get because they turn the ball over. It's winning these little battles that are going to matter for this Magic team. And look, we can't pretend otherwise. Just like I said on Saturday's episode of Locked On Magic when I talked about the game against the Pelicans are a hurt team. They're struggling right now. The Wizards are a spunky team. They got a lot of talent, but they're not ready. They're super duper young. They've got problems. They've got issues. And the Magic should be expected to beat these teams. Even depleted, even with how much they've been struggling, these are games they expect to win. The Magic, I think, were favored by 9 on FanDuel in this game. They easily covered. I wasn't sure. I don't know if I had much faith in them to cover, even if I expected them to win. This was a runaway game. The Magic hit a string of threes in the second quarter to build a 15-point lead. Let that get down to 6. Put the pedal to the floor in the third quarter. Blew this game open. Didn't even need Franz Wagner for the fourth quarter. Didn't even need Jalen Suggs, who was in foul trouble all game. This is a team you expect to beat. And so what comes next is, can you do this against better teams, better competition? And that's what the rest of this homestand is. Charlotte is playing very well. They just took a loss to Philadelphia in overtime on Sunday. They're coming to Orlando next on Tuesday. NBA Cup game. Charlotte's a much better team. Indiana, we've seen them plenty of times. We know how dangerous they can be. And then, yes, Philadelphia with Joel Embiid on Friday in the second NBA Cup game. There is still a lot more this team has to prove. We're going to learn a lot about them this week. But if the Magic are going to win games, yes, it's about making threes. It's about making shots. All that stuff matters. But Orlando has shown us that they've got to outwork and out-hustle everyone. They've got to play at a higher intensity. And if they do that, they're going to have chances to win. This is a team that is still good enough to win on most nights or give themselves a chance to win on most nights. They've got the confidence back. They found some shooting finally. Now we'll see if they can keep winning these battles on the margins. Can they keep attacking the offensive glass? Can they keep getting points off turnovers? Can they keep doing all the things that have led to wins and led them to compete in the last 3 games? That's going to be the challenge, and that's the direction this team has to go. I want to hit this topic again. We talked about it on our last episode, but Franz Wagner continues to define what stardom is to him. We'll talk about what he did that was so impressive in Sunday's win. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, do live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. The NBA Cup is on the horizon. And while the odds for the Magic's game against Charlotte Hornets not yet up on FanDuel, you can get yourself ready for the NBA Cup by betting on the winner, the Boston Celtics at plus 430. The favorites, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're in the same group as Boston, by the way, in NBA Cup action, plus 800. The Orlando Magic, by the way, going at plus 6,000, way down on that list right now, behind the Miami Heat even, to win the NBA Cup. In fact, NBA Cup East Group A, the New York Knicks are favored to win at minus 120, the Sixers at plus 320, the Orlando Magic at plus 440. Group A has become seriously more competitive with how much better the Hornets are playing, and the Nets having a strong start to the season. Should be a fun battle in the NBA Cup beginning on Tuesday. And FanDuel lets you get on the action. So visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I want to hit this point again. I don't know how many of y'all listen to my weekend episodes. If you do, thank you for doing so. Feel free to keep listening. I hope I'll make some more points on this, but obviously there's like a lot that the Magic are working through and a lot that the Magic are trying to figure out right now. For the next month, at least the next month, the Magic will be without Paolo Banchero. And that's not an excuse for losses. That's not an excuse for performance. This Magic team can still win. And obviously they got 2 expected wins this weekend. There's still a lot to build and develop. But as I think a lot of us have mentioned, or at least I know I mentioned a few times, Paolo's absence is an opportunity as well. It sucks. It's terrible. We're eager to have Paolo Banchero back, that this month can't go by fast enough. But the Magic have to march on. They have to find a way. And what this next month is going to do, why this next month is so important, is it's going to teach a lot of players on this team how to expand and grow their roles. We're going to see if Franz Wagner can take a step up in his game, if Jalen Suggs can take a step up in his game. We're going to see these players gain more confidence or, frankly, sink. It's a sink or swim moment. And undoubtedly, things change. I've said this a million times. You can't replace Paolo Banchero. No one can be Paolo Banchero. You have to be yourself, and the Magic have to change and tailor their offense to allow these players to be themselves. But they're going to need more too. And there's going to be more opportunity, and a player like Franz Wagner is going to have the ball in his hands a lot more. And that's the challenge now. That's been the gauntlet thrown down. Is Franz Wagner, can you be the guy? Can you handle the pressure, the responsibility of being the star? And see if this can blossom and grow. Look, Franz Wagner has played very well since Paolo Banchero got hurt. He had solid games against Cleveland, Dallas, and Oklahoma City. Team obviously didn't perform well as a group, but I think you can say even in those games while Franz played well, he played like Franz instead of the new role that he's in. His last 3 games, though, have seen him really take over. His last 3 games, he has looked like a true star. And that's the most promising thing that we've seen. Now, granted, again, New Orleans and Washington, not exactly murderer's row here. But against Washington, he had another stellar game. Against Washington, he showed us a lot, delivered a lot to this team. In the end, Franz Wagner scored 23 points on 9 for 20 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and more importantly, 0 turnovers. This was not an easy game for Franz Wagner. Bilal Coulibaly is an excellent defender. That kid has grown by leaps and bounds in 1 year in the NBA. He scored 20 points on 9 for 11 shooting and added 6 assists. The Magic had very few answers for him. He is playing at another level right now. Really impressive stuff from the second year forward. And his defense is really good. Franz was working overtime to try and get Coulibaly switched off of him. And every time that he wasn't guarded by Coulibaly, he went straight to the paint. But even when Coulibaly guarded him, while Coulibaly won some of those battles, Franz got his licks in too. Franz got downhill, got to the basket, did what he had to do, got the shots that he needed to go in. This was a strong effort from Franz Wagner. This was another game where he looked like the star of this team, commanding the tempo of the game, setting the tone with his aggression, his willingness to get to the basket, and showing his unselfishness to pass the ball for assists. He's had at least 5 assists in 4 of the 5 games since Paolo Banchero's injury, or 5 of the 6 games since Paolo Banchero's injury. This is a player playing at his peak. And this is a player whom the Magic are following, more importantly. At this point, I know some people are thinking about this. At this point, Paolo Banchero making the All-Star team is very, very slim. It's going to come down to he hasn't played enough games. Again, I am personally expecting Paolo back around Christmas. That gives him about 2 to 3 weeks before the coaches vote on the reserves. He's not getting in this year. Just unless the fans vote him in, which would be awesome if they did, Paolo is not going to have enough games to get to the All-Star game. But if the Magic are where they are in the standings, it's going to be because Franz Wagner's putting in this kind of effort. It's going to be because Franz Wagner looks like an all-star. And these last 3 games especially, Franz Wagner has looked like an all-star. His stat line looks like an all-star. His play looks like an all-star. This is a guy that is coming into his own and now fully grasping and understanding not only his role, but his responsibility to this team. That to me is the most important thing. The Magic needed their 2 leaders to step up with Paolo out. And look, a lot of other players have stepped up too. We're going to talk about the box score here in a minute. The Magic have needed a lot of guys to step up, but everything in this league starts with your star. Your lead player sets the tone for everything. He gets the attention. He makes the critical decisions. And Franz has shown not only that he can still get to his spots, get to his shots, but he can make the right decision and understand when it's time for him to go, when he needs to set the tone, and when he needs to lay back and let others go to work. Look, Franz is not perfect at this yet. I think it's still something he's learning, but the progress that he has made in the last week, stepping up to the plate for his team, that stuff has been impressive. In that telltale third quarter when the Magic outscored them 30-16, he had 8 points. Just getting downhill to the basket, drawing fouls, creating tension in the defense. He may not be able to do it one-on-one all the time. His three-point shot and his mid-range jumper may be inconsistent at best. But Franz knows what he's good at and knows that he can get to the rim, that he can make the defense make tough decisions, and then he can trust himself to make the right choices in those turns. Like everything else, again, this week is a big week. Next week's a big week. Every week is a big week. But the opponents the Magic are facing right now are going to test them a little bit more. They got through the easy part. We knew they'd get these, we were hopeful that they would get these 2 wins, kind of right the ship, kind of get that feeling of joy again. They got that. Now comes the challenge. You're going up against an all-star in LaMelo Ball. You're going up against the future all-star in Brandon Miller. You're going up against Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. You're going up against Paul George and Joel Embiid. Can the Magic withstand those teams? Can the Magic still do those things? Can Franz Wagner still lead this team against those players and their teams? It's a team sport. That's going to be the big challenge ahead. And that's what we're eager to see as Franz continues to blossom. Let's run through the box score. We'll talk more specifically about this Magic win over the Wizards coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Big concert weekend here in Orlando. As I'm looking out my window here at a little bit after midnight, I can still see the lights over at Camping World Stadium for EDC. Not my kind of speed. Maybe that's your kind of music. Not my kind of speed. For me, the concert that I'm eyeing, don't buy my tickets, people. The concert that I'm eyeing is early December when Creed and Three Doors Down come to the Kia Center. Me, I'm looking for the best deal. I'm kind of waiting, trying to find the best deal I can get for the best seats that I can have. I've actually looked. There's one seat that I'm really looking at and really thinking about buying. Probably going to buy it tomorrow. Game Time has my ticket to the concert. I think I've decided. I think I've talked myself into going. I'm excited to go, and I know Game Time has my seat to get there. Game Time gives you so many great offers. They'll learn the kind of things that you like and pick the big sports concerts, comedy theater events in your town that you want to go to. With their all-in pricing, you can toggle the feature and show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Their digital panoramic view of your seats lets you know exactly what your seats look like as you're looking at the stage, field, court, whatever. And with their lowest price guarantee, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a lower price elsewhere. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On Magic, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On Magic for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Let's run through the final box scores. The Orlando Magic defeat the Washington Wizards 121-94. I think I hit on most of the points about how this game progressed, but let's go over them real fast. Again, Orlando expected to win this game. Like, this is a game you expect to win. No offense to Washington. They got a lot working for them. They got a lot to build with, but it's still just very, very young, and they don't really have a lot of depth yet. That's kind of the big thing. But the Magic really had control of this game throughout. They trailed a little bit at times, but never really felt like they were going to, kind of fade away. The only thing that really bugged them was this three-point shooting again. Orlando was let me make sure I have the number right here because it's kind of important to tell the story. Magic were 3 for 11 on threes in the first quarter. It seemed like it was going to be same old story. Magic's defense was intense. They were getting offensive rebounds. They were still in control. But it felt like the same old story that if Washington could build some momentum with their three-point shooting, then the Magic might be in a little bit of trouble and they might have to kind of fight their way out of this. Second quarter, the Magic make a ton of threes. They were 5 for 8 on threes in the second quarter, helped them build a 15-point lead, build a little bit of a cushion. And even though Washington made a little run at the end of the quarter to get the lead down to 6, it felt like things had stabilized. And it was like, okay, the Magic are making some shots now. They're still in control of this game. It's all good. Again, I would argue with what I would argue there is like, well, yes, 3-point shooting is very important. I'm not going to deny that. 3-point shooting giveth, 3-point shooting taketh away. You don't, while there are great 3-point shooting teams out there like Boston, you don't win or lose games on your 3-point shooting. It makes life easier or it makes life harder that you don't win or lose games on your 3-point shooting. And the third quarter proved that point. The Magic made threes, but not at the clip that they were making them. But they got down and they defended. Washington goes 5 for 12 in the quarter. They're not even getting shots up. They turn the ball over. They're turned over. Magic don't get a lot of fast breaks, but they get a lot of points off those turnovers. They get offensive rebounds. Frankly, the Magic just outworked the Wizards in this game. And, Washington is energetic. They played hard. It's not like they didn't play hard. The Magic just outworked them. And again, it's going to take that kind of effort for the Magic to be successful during this period. The Magic just cannot afford to be without right now. They cannot afford to not push themselves forward. They cannot afford to be outworked. And Orlando did a very good job, in my opinion, of taking care of their business, of putting in that effort, putting in that work, and reaping the rewards. The reason why this game became such a runaway is, yes, the Magic made some shots. Orlando ended 17 for 48 for the game, 35.4%. It's the first time in 4 games, shooting better than 30% from 3. They made their shots. They made 17 threes to Washington's 10. The three-pointer was there. The Magic weren't afraid to take them. Did they take a few too many? Probably, but let's not complain too much. They made enough of them for this game to work. They were open threes. Again, just a lot of open shots that the Magic are missing, and you can live with some of it. You can't live with other parts of it. But Orlando did so many other things well. They weren't just leaning on the 3. They got those second chance opportunities, got second cracks and bites at the apple. They defended hard. They got to the foul line, 22 for 25 from the foul line. They didn't turn the ball over a ton, only 12 turnovers. They got 11 stocks, 6 steals, and 5 blocks. They were just swarming on defense, and this Washington team, when Orlando dialed up its defense, could not fight back, plain and simple, and the game was over. Like I said, Franz Wagner led the way with 23 points, did not play in the fourth quarter, so that could have been a whole lot more if this game were tighter. Orlando gets 11 points from Tristan da Silva, 4 for 9 shooting, 2 for 5 from beyond the arc, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals for him as well. Just like everything we knew about him from Summer League, just finds himself in the right spots. He's not making bad decisions for the most part. Again, a couple turnovers, but he's aggressively attacking the basket. He's been a little bit better at that, and showing a little bit of that. There's a lot to like about Tristan da Silva, even if the pieces are still coming together for him. Not a lot of scoring off in the starters. Goga Bitadze had 10 points, 12 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds for him, added a block. Really like Goga's game. He's just so active around the basket. This makes the defense account for him as a rim runner, as an offensive rebounder. Just such a, he's such a good shot blocker. I said this last year. I still believe it from last year. I still believe it right now. It's really hard not to play Goga Bitadze. And he is an NBA caliber center. He deserves to be in a rotation somewhere, and the Magic are going to have to find a place for him when Wendell Carter returns. Anthony Black off the bench, 12 points, 4 for 6 shooting, 2 for 3 from 3, 4 assists for him. Really aggressive game. Looked to shoot his threes. Like he did a pull-up 3, which was the weirdest thing I've ever seen from him, but he's made so much progress on that end. Really, really happy with the way that he played. Really, really happy with how he built himself up in this one and just made such a big contribution. Good defense as well. An aggressive Anthony Black is going to help this Magic team win. They need him to be aggressive, to be assertive, to try and get downhill. Mo Wagner, another solid game, 16 points, 5 for 12 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 7 from the foul line, 6 rebounds for him. Just doing Mo Wagner things, got to his spots in the post, tried to score a lot around Jonas Valanciunas, got some fakes on Alex Sarr, just settled for threes on occasion. I do think the Magic took a few too many threes in this game. They definitely got open looks. That's kind of what Washington was giving them, but I do think that they ended up taking a few too many threes just overall. So something to build on, something to work on there. I think they're better off getting in the paint a little bit more. And then finally, the guy that we got to mention, Cole Anthony, forced into action, 16 points, 3 for 4 shooting, 2 for 3 from 3, 8 for 8 from the foul line. Came in, Jalen Suggs was in foul trouble this entire game. He played only 18 minutes in this one. He was 2 for 8, 1 for 6 from 3. So just not a great game from Jalen Suggs. Had 4 turnovers, only 2 assists. Just really never found his rhythm. Got caught fouling, got caught being a little too aggressive, took himself out of the game. And Jalen's had some struggles over the last few games. Cole Anthony gets the call to kind of fill in some of those minutes. And just like he did Friday against New Orleans, he just played with so much energy. He was working very, very hard to make sure that that Mose saw his effort, that Mose understood he is still all in on this team, that he's going to try and contribute in other ways. So to see him finally get some shots to fall, and look, he got lost a few times. He turned the ball over a few times. Like it's not perfect with him, but to see him make those be aggressive, probe into the defense, get to spots in the paint, kind of force the defense to react to where he is and react to his dribbling. That's all very, very big. He's not afraid to shoot. He's kind of one of those contested shot makers that the Magic have. Him just making shots just makes life easier for everyone. Again, that's a big reason why the Magic are able to run away with this one and defeat the Wizards in this game. Washington is led by Jordan Poole with 24 points, 8 for 19 shooting, 3 for 10 from 3. He is Jordan Poole. That's, I think, all I need to say on him. Bilal Coulibaly, again, 20 points, 9 for 11 shooting, just super impressive. Deshaun George, also impressive, the rookie, 15 points, 5 for 9 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3. Hit a couple threes in the second quarter when they cut into the 15-point lead, got it down to 6 at the half. So plenty for Washington to build on, a lot to like. But at the end of the day, the Magic just had too much firepower, too much defense, especially their defense hounded Washington. 45.8% shooting, 10 for 33 on threes, so that's 30.3%. Only 7 offensive rebounds, 17 turnovers for 26 Magic points. Again, winning on the margins is big. The Magic won those battles. They won the effort plays. They routed Washington. This was a really nice win. The Orlando Magic defeat the Washington Wizards 121-94. They will be back in action on Tuesday in their NBA Cup opener against the Charlotte Hornets. We'll talk about that game afterwards on a future episode of Locked On Magic. But that's good, Duke, for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all Filming Stuff podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Up on the hub right now, I might have to go down a few articles for it, but up on the hub right now, I break down how Kentavious Caldwell-Pope can help the Magic with his spacing, even if he's not making shots at the moment. You can see that video only on the Orlando Magic Hub at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As if that's not enough of me, you can now check out the Locked On Magic daily newsletter. It's the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. On tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, we will talk NBA Cup, prep you for what to expect in the NBA Cup, plus probably talk a little bit about Cole Anthony as well. We'll get to all that tomorrow on Locked On Magic, but until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, it's been Philip Rossman-Wright. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.